Welcome to today's session on EFT processing for Sage Intacct. EFT processing for Sage Intacct streamlines Sage Intacct payments using electronic funds transfer or EFT. And why use it? Well, it automates the creation of EFT files for your bank, leading to increased efficiency, accuracy, and security. It eliminates expensive paper checks and avoids duplicate data entry for a quick return on investment. It integrates seamlessly with Sage Intacct accounts payable. But first, a bit about Orchid. Orchid has over 6,000 Sage sites in over 80 countries, has been in business for close on 30 years, has over 450 Sage business partners actively deploying Orchid's modules, is based in Sydney, Australia, has won a number of industry awards over the years, has a number of integrated modules integrating into Sage products with an average of 2 modules per Sage site. Some more key numbers from Orchid. We endeavor to handle our support cases quickly and effectively and manage to address over 88% of our cases within 24 hours, and we've enjoyed good solid growth for a number of years. 23% average year-on-year growth for over 17 years, as indicated by the graph on the right-hand side. And now some more stats for you, more numbers, this time relating specifically to the EFT processing module. We have over 4,000 Sage EFT sites in over 80 countries around the world. The Sage modules for both Sage Intacct and Sage 300 use the same common mapping engine, and they have at this stage over 800 shared maps mapping the information in Sage Intacct through to the information that the bank needs. Additional maps can be requested, and you can of course create your own user-definable maps as well. EFT processing creates EFT payment files in the format required by your bank. It integrates with standard Sage Intacct payment processing routines, has hundreds, over 800 in fact, bank formats supported, and others can be created on request, and supports positive pay file formats as well. Vendor banking details are held by EFT processing, and it supports user-definable screen labels to reflect the terminology used by each bank. From a security perspective, it has extensive audit logs of EFT files and transactions created, plus changes to banking details. It uses industry-leading WebAssembly technology, so mapping of your banking information takes place within your environment, not on a third-party site over the internet. It sits within Sage Intacct, providing the familiar look and feel you have with Sage Intacct, plus standard security and customization capabilities, and stores all data within Sage Intacct as well. Here we have the EFT AP payment request screen, and here we have the EFT file screen and the EFT vendor screen. But better still, let's see it in action. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Anne.
Thanks, Steve. After importing the Orchid EFT application and assigning security to the appropriate Intacct users, you will have access to this Orchid EFT menu. You would use the EFT license screen to enter your subscription activation code, the EFT formats option to enter or upload your EFT file formats, the EFT banks you are setting up, and the EFT file formats associated with the bank accounts. And then you would go ahead and use the EFT AP payment request to select your AP payments and the EFT file list to view, download, and confirm your EFT files. So looking first at the EFT formats, This option allows you to import or create or update your EFT file format definitions. These formats can be uploaded from Orchid, or you can create your own formats. And then you associate these EFT formats with your bank accounts from which you want to make the EFT payments. And if I sort these bank accounts by bank account name, you can associate multiple EFT formats with the same bank account. This will enable you to do payments, wire payments, international payments, and positive pay files all from the same bank account. Let's look at the RBC Royal Bank of Canada. You can do the domestic payments. Using the RBC Payee Match, you can do your positive pay file formats. And using the RBC eTransfer, you can produce the XML transfer for overseas payments. So you can have multiple EFT file formats associated with the same bank account, and you can configure multiple bank accounts. After configuring your EFT formats and EFT banks, you would go to your AP suppliers or AP vendors and associate the required EFT file format with each of your vendors. Once you have selected your vendor, you will see the Orchid EFT tab on your vendor, and the fields that are displayed together with field labels are dependent on the EFT file type that you select for that vendor. In this case, the HSBC ISO 20022, and you need to fill in these particular fields. And if you slowly mouse over the info box, it'll tell you what you need to enter for that particular field. And selecting a different vendor and changing the EFT file type, you can see the fields that are required will change. And changing the file type from ISO 2022 to their ABC wire payments, you'll see only a handful of fields are needed. Whereas if we go back to the ISO 2022, you'll see there's a lot more fields that are needed for that particular format. And that is it for the setup of EFT processing for AP payments. The way EFT processing works is that any posted payment to a vendor that is configured for EFT processing and from a bank that is configured for EFT processing can be included in an EFT file. There is no special or particular processing that you need to do in EFT processing in order to create the EFT file. You do your normal payment processing. You print checks if you are printing checks and post them and use these posted payments in your positive pay EFT files, or you do your payments via record transfer or manual payments and post the payments, and then they can be included in an EFT file. Just to recap then, you would create your AP purchase invoices and then pay the purchase invoices and approve and post the payments. And once the payments have been posted, they can be included in an EFT file. And here are all the payments that I can include in an EFT file, those which are on the posted payments list. To select posted payments for inclusion in an EFT file, you go to the EFT menu and then EFT AP payment requests. And this screen will show you all the posted payments that have not yet been included in an EFT file. Initially, the date defaults to 1 month ago, but it remembers your last date filter, so you can change that to 7 days ago or 5 days ago to suit your EFT processing and file generation. This screen shows you all the posted AP payments that are for a vendor that has been configured for EFT, that are for a bank that has been configured for EFT, and which have not yet been included in an EFT file, and subject to the filters, like those since the 23rd of September 2022. The screen shows me the vendor ID, and I can drill into the vendor to check the EFT details if I need to. And I can drill into the payment transaction amount to see any details on the AP payment that I need to. And I can also see the currency, the payment amount, the bank account it's for, and the EFT file format which is going to be used. The EFT file format is taken from the vendor and the bank. I can select all the payments, or I could select only that handful that I want to send to the bank at this stage, or I could filter by format and select only one format. And when I click Generate, it's going to go ahead and create as many files as I have bank accounts and EFT file formats. I'm going to get one file for the ANZ wire payments, and I'm going to get another file for the ANZ domestic payments, and I'm going to get a third file for the ISO 20022 international payment. After selecting the payments I want to include, I click Generate. And we get the message that 3 files have been generated. After the EFT files have been created, we can use the EFT file list to view the files. And this is showing me all the files filtered by Anne Fouché, all the files that I have created, and it's sorted in descending date order. From here we can view the contents of the file, and here we can see the details in the file. We can download the file. To download it using our browser so it can be uploaded to the bank. If there is a problem with the file, for example, the bank account details for the vendor or the bank is wrong or the format is wrong, we can hold the file and then go back and correct the data and come back to the screen and click refresh. And refresh will keep a copy of the data now as the status replaced and create a new file with the status of new that can be re-downloaded. And a file can be deleted. If deleted, then the 3 payments in this case are returned back onto the EFT AP payment request to be included in another file, and the status of this file is changed to deleted. But now we're going to download this file, and after the file has been downloaded, the status is changed to exported. And opening up this particular file, we can see the text file has been formatted based on the ANZ's requirements. After the file has been downloaded, the status becomes exported. And then once the bank has confirmed the file is okay, you can come back and confirm the file. When you confirm the file, the status becomes confirmed, and at this stage you can only view or download the file with the permissions to be able to view and download already confirmed files. And that is the EFT process. On the EFT AP payment request, you select those posted payments that you want to include in a file, and then on the EFT file list, you would download your file, and once confirmed with the bank, you would confirm your file. But looking at the error process, if I was perhaps to download this particular file, you can see that I'm getting an error message that for vendor 20094, the BSB number is too long. The BSB number in Australian banks is a 6-digit number. So we need to hold that file, and now the status has become on hold, and now we would go and correct that data and come back and refresh the file to re-export it. So going to our AP supplier, the error message was that the BSB number was too long, so we need to make this a 6-digit number. And then back on our EFT file, that particular payment that is on hold, we can now click refresh. And when we do, it makes a copy of that data and changes the status to replaced, and then creates a new file with the refreshed data with the status of new. And now we can go ahead and download this file. Have a look at the file if we need to. And that's formatted as per the ANZ file. And if accepted, once we upload it to the bank, we could come in and confirm it. And the status will be updated to confirmed. And that concludes the demonstration of our first release of EFT processing. Release 1 includes AP payments. So you are able to create EFT files for vendor payments. We have over 800 supported formats, including domestic payments, wire payments, international payments, positive pay files, etc. And you can also have user-definable EFT file formats. And you can configure multiple formats for the same bank account to enable both domestic payments, wire payments, and, for example, positive pay, all from the same bank account. In future releases, we will be adding user-definable remittance advices, additional security features and audit reports. You'll be able to SFTP the EFT file directly to your own FTP account or to the bank's FTP account. We will be including all these features for AR direct debits, as well as for employee expenses. Thank you for your time watching this demonstration, and I'm now going to hand over to Natalie to explain to you the resources that we have on our website to support Sage Intacct EFT processing.
Thanks, Anne and Steve, for your presentations. The main place to find more details is on the Orchid website. There are training guides and videos. You can also access the online help from there, and the online help is also available on every Orchid EFT screen in the applications. So let's have a quick look now. So we've got details about what we presented today about Sage Intacct here on the Orchid website. And then under resources, you have access to the training guide, which you can download from here. And you can also find the online help here. We will add training videos to the online help and to the video resources of the website very shortly. In the meantime, here you have all the details to get started and the key steps that Anne demonstrated in how to set up EFT banks, EFT vendors, and creating the files. If you're actually in the application, on every screen there's a help, and that takes you to the online help. For example, here we're looking at the details on configuring the EFT license. In addition, Sage business partners can register on the Orchid website and access additional resources, starting with a product download. As a business partner, you also have access to the knowledge base and the community, and we're adding content regularly, so feel free to come back and visit the website. After you download and install, you can do all the configuration, but you actually need a license to generate an EFT file. You can contact us to receive an NFR license for a partner, or if one of your end user needs a 30-day trial, get in touch with us. Partners can contact support@orchid.systems for ongoing support. So let's have a look at the resources for partners on the website. If you have your logon details, you can select login and login. If you don't, you can use Become a Partner, complete the forms, and we will send you the details to log in and activate your account on the website and in the knowledge base within a day of receiving the form. So now if I log in, I have access to a broader range of resources, including the product downloads. Some of you are familiar with that because you are using our modules with Sage 300. It is exactly the same process for Sage Intacct. Select Sage Intacct, and at the moment I have access to EFT Processing for Sage Intacct. I can download the installed files and then import it into Intacct, do all the configuration, and as we've looked at before, enter an activation code to be able to generate a file. Finally, if you like what you've seen and want to buy EFT for Intacct, Sage partners can purchase for their Sage Intacct users. If you are in the Americas, so Canada, the US, Mexico, Central South America, the Caribbean, the process is the same as with Sage 300. You can purchase EFT processing for Sage Intacct through Robert Lavery and Associates. In other regions, you can contact Orchid directly. So for Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the Middle East, UK, Europe, partners purchase directly from Orchid. And as with Sage 300 modules, the annual renewals will be done directly by Orchid. For more details, you can refer to the partner FAQ site, and you'll have detail about the process, about the information that we need to place purchase orders and generate an activation code. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to working on EFT for Sage Intacct with you in the coming few weeks, months and years. So now we'll open for questions.
Thanks, Natalie. You are all in listen-only mode, so please use your question or your chat box to pose any questions that you have for us. And I can see quite a few questions, so starting with the first one now. Does EFT processing help with the bank rec? Is there a common reference to use with smart matching? So the way EFT processing works is we are working on posted AP payments. So you need to give the AP payments the appropriate number to help with your bank rec. So for example, if your bank sends you a single total on your bank rec for your EFT file, so not all the payments listed individually, but just a single total value, then when you're doing your payments, you need to give them all the same document number. So you would assign them an EFT file number, for example. But if your bank gives you individual payments one by one, then you would use your check number, or you would assign an individual record number for each of the payments as you post them, and then it'll match the bank rec, and your smart matching will work. When do we expect to generate AR direct debit files? So AR direct debit files are slated for the next product update or the next but one product update. So I'd expect within the next 4 months we'll be generating AR direct debit files. When do you expect to include advance payments? So we expect that in the next product release. So in the next couple of months we expect to be including advance payments. Can we import banking details during the implementation? Yes, you can. So the vendor's bank account details are added as custom fields on the vendor record. So you would, after importing the EFT module, you would export the AP vendor template, and you will see all the extra fields are there. So we recommend that you configure one vendor and then export those details so you can see which columns to fill in, and then use that template as an import to re-import your vendors, keeping only those columns that you are needing in that import. Is EFT processing available on the Australian Sage Intacct marketplace? This webinar is being recorded in the last week of October, and we're currently getting certification with the USA marketplace. So we expect that to come through fairly shortly. And once it's on the USA marketplace, then we will look to list on the Sage Africa, Sage Australia, and Sage UK marketplace as well. Another question here. Do you have the ability to SFTPS or FTPS directly to the bank? Not at this moment, but we will probably in Product Update 3. You'll be able to configure your FTP credentials for the bank or your own FTP site, and then when it's downloaded, it'll automatically be FTP'd rather than just left on the client. Another question. So end users can create their own file formats if they understand what they're doing, or if they have an IT team or use a consultant. No need to ask Orchid, correct? So yes, the user formats can be created by yourselves or by anyone who knows how to do it. You can take one of Orchid's predefined formats, make a copy, change the name, and then make any amendments you want. And Orchid also includes new formats at no extra charge. So yes, anything that suits the customer, they can create their own, get their IT to create their own, or ask Orchid to do it. Another question here. Do you have workflow capabilities, i.e. approval workflows? No, we don't. Because we're working on the posted payment record, you would use the innate or standard workflow capabilities within Intacct on your AP invoices, and then on your AP payments, you would configure those workflows as you need them. So multi-level, multi-person, however you need to do it. And the AP payments can only be included in an EFT file once it's posted. That means it's approved and posted. How do you price EFT? By file format? No, it's not priced by file format. It's a price per the module. And it's best to contact Orchid if you're in the South African region, UK, Australia, New Zealand. Contact us for pricing. If you're in the Americas, then contact Rob Lavery, who's our distributor for EFT processing in that area. I'm not seeing any other questions. Natalie, do you see any other questions? No, I don't think so. So thanks very much for your time, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon at our next webinar next month. Bye.